Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 40 of In My Plant-Based Kitchen. I am Emma. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist and a certified plant-based chef. And today is the day of the week that I invite you into my kitchen to talk about healthy living and plant-based food inspiration. If you enjoyed the videos, tips, and recipes I'm sharing on this channel, please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell so that you will receive notifications whenever a new episode drops. So today I want to talk about fruit. We are in the midst of summer. It's very hot here in BC where I live, and fruit is abundant. These are some fruits that I have. I picked these blueberries yesterday. A friend gave these plums to me yesterday. I'm going to make some chutney with them. And today's recipe that I'm going to share with you feature the blueberries. So I'll say more about that in a moment. And I also picked up some local cherries from a fruit stand. And of course, these are just some of the fruits that I have: a pear, apple, oranges, limes. These are fruits that I almost always have in the house. And I wanted to just well, they're so pretty. They're so colorful. I love to have a nice display. But I also want to talk about variety in fruit today. Because when we think about healthy eating, consuming fruit is not usually one of the things that seems like a hardship to most people. I have met people who don't like fruit, who never eat fruit, who just don't get it into their diets. But usually it doesn't seem like the big thing. After all, the message that we're usually giving out is eat your veggies, right? And yet, in the global burden of disease study that was done in 2010, this was the largest analysis of risk factors for death and disease that had ever been done globally. Not eating enough fruit was identified as the worst aspect of the American diet, and diet was determined to be the leading cause of death and disability. So, today I wanted to talk a little bit about why eating a variety of fruit as a regular part of your daily diet is so very important. Fruit is loaded, of course, with vitamins and minerals, but also phytonutrients that contribute so much to our good health. In fact, fruit contains important nutrients that aren't found in any other foods. So if you're not eating fruit at all, or if you're not eating enough fruit, you definitely are missing out. Phytonutrients or phytochemicals are bioactive chemical compounds that plants produce to protect themselves and keep themselves healthy. And when we consume them, when we consume phytonutrients in the form of fruit or other plant foods, they in turn, of course, help to protect us. And that's one of the reasons why plant foods are so very good for us. They protect us against cancer. They help to keep our immune system performing optimally. They protect our hearts, our liver, our brain, our whole body, really. You've probably heard that berries are the superstars of the fruit world. So much so that many plant-based health professionals recommend consuming berries every day if you can. They are loaded with antioxidants, which we know helps to decrease the oxidative stress in our bodies, which helps our hearts and helps to keep us healthy in many ways. In terms of antioxidant content, they are second only to herbs and spices, and they have 50 times more antioxidants than any animal-based foods. But it's not all about berries. There are, of course, many, many different kinds of fruits to enjoy. This is one of the great pleasures of my life. And it's really, really important to eat a good variety of them on a regular basis. And the reason for that is that different fruits offer different phytonutrients, different minerals, different vitamins, and different fiber types that are beneficial to various aspects of our health. So we really want to make sure we're regularly eating a good variety to get the spectrum of nutrition that will be most advantageous to us. And of course, just enjoy a really delicious, tasty, interesting diet. So how much fruit should we be eating on a daily basis? I really like Dr. Greger's recommendation from his Daily Dozen, a half cup of berries of some kind every day. And then on top of that, 3 servings, 1 cup servings of other fruits every single day. And, I think I probably do get that fairly easily on a daily basis. Sometimes I eat more than that, more fruit. But I know that a lot of people find that a lot of fruit. And one of the ways I think it's easy, like it makes it easier to get that in, is one, including it in your breakfast, whether that's a smoothie or on your oatmeal or something like that, but also including them as snacks because snacks are something that a lot of people struggle with. Trying to find things to eat as healthy snacks. Fruit are the ultimate fast food, the ultimate healthy fast food. And when you treat them like your snacks, when you have an apple, and if you're extra hungry, you could have an apple with some peanut butter, for example, or nut butter. You could have just having oranges or whatever. Using those as your snacks is a really, really great way, as a rule, to get more fruit into your everyday. So here we're talking about fresh fruits, frozen fruits, but not so much canned or dried fruits. Canned fruits, especially when they are processed with a lot of sugar or syrup, of course, then you're getting a lot of added sugars that you probably don't want. And dried fruit, although it's wonderful in small quantities, can be very calorically dense, especially when there are added sugars or oils. So you want to be wary of those types of fruit. The other thing to be aware of is we're not talking about fruit juice here. And I don't think probably most people watching this video are like, Emma, I totally know this, but it bears repeating. Even pure juice with no added sugar is not the same thing as eating a whole piece of fruit. And this is because, of course, the fiber has been removed in the process of making fruit or making juice. Smoothies are not the same because the fiber is still there. It's blended up, but it's still there. The fiber is a huge part of the benefit of fruit, which because it not only binds nutrients. So when you consume juice, you're consuming a product that has had some of the nutrients removed because it's gone out with the fiber. But the fiber also slows down the absorption of the natural sugars in fruit that helps to moderate our blood sugar levels and avoid the spike that you get when you are eating or drinking fruit juice. So at this time of year, it's really easy to get access to fresh fruit. As I said, most of these are local. Not these ones aren't, but these all are. And that's definitely the best of all worlds. But in the winter, when fresh fruit is hard to come by, frozen fruit is a great alternative. I get this question a lot in my classes because a lot of people have it in their heads that frozen fruit is not very healthy for them. In fact, sometimes it's even healthier. It's even, or I shouldn't say, just more nutritious than fresh fruit that comes from really far away in the winter months because of when the fruit is picked. Frozen fruit, let me get that FR word right. Frozen fruit is picked and usually flash frozen for processing at its optimal ripeness, which means it's also optimally nutritious. So frozen fruit is a really great alternative. Of course, frozen fruits that are just the fruit itself, nothing added to it. I love frozen berries on my oatmeal. I always in the summer go and pick lots of berries. One year I picked 100 pounds. That turned out to be a bit too much. I've been eating those for a while, but probably 50 pounds of blueberries. And then I stick them in the freezer. It's a really inexpensive way to get fresh blueberries that I can use year round. So oatmeal, smoothies, all of these are great ways to get your frozen or use frozen fruit in your diet year round. Frozen cherries are one of my favorite snacks. So there's lots of value in frozen fruit as well. And that's basically what I was trying to bring home. So it is blueberry season here in BC. As I said, I went to pick these blueberries last night. So I wanted to share one of my favorite oil-free summer salad dressings with you. It's super simple, it's very delicious, and it's going to add even more nutrition, no extra fat to your summer salads. You can make it with any berry. You can use different vinegars. You can use even different sweeteners if you want. I've done and love this recipe with blackberries, strawberries, raspberries. I usually just use whatever berries I have on hand at the time. So I'm going to, I'll just show you. Oh, I will show you. Very simple. A cup of fresh. You can also make this with frozen berries, but you might end up needing to add a bit more water because it's going to be thicker. So about a cup of fresh berries. And then you're going to want just a tablespoon. I've got some maple syrup here as my sweetener, a tablespoon of maple syrup, a tablespoon of, I'm just going to use a regular balsamic vinegar, but if you have like a nice special vinegar, lovely. You could also use lemon juice, lime juice, something like that. I do one with strawberry, strawberry balsamic and a little bit of basil. I think I'm going to put a bit of basil in here today as well. So you can throw some fresh herbs in, totally optional. You don't have to. And then if you can, if you want a little bit of a thinner dressing, I'm going to just add about a half tablespoon of water and see how that goes. It helps to have the blueberries one isn't so bad, but if you have something that has a lot of seeds like blackberries, it does help to have a high-speed blender to make sure that you get all the seeds pulverized. And if you are not using a high-speed blender, the other option for something like that would be either to just use blueberries that don't have a lot of seeds, or if you're making a seedy one, is just to put it through a sieve, and then you can get rid of some of the seeds. But again, that's fiber, so keep it if you can. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and blend this up. Okay, so I have blended it up, and it is really, the consistency is just perfect with that half teaspoon of water. You can see, I don't know if you can see it, it's just going into my salad dressing container here. And I just make a little bit of this at a time because it doesn't keep for very long. The pectin in the fruit makes it so, the consistency so nice for salad, so it's not really runny. So you can kind of see it's got it's liquidy, but it's going to have a nice cover factor. It's going to not feel like a watery dressing. So this is a really, really nice dressing to have on a summer salad of any kind, really. But I am going to share, and it's so delicious. That little bit of basil is perfect. And the balsamic vinegar with the little bit of sweetener. If you have a sweeter berry, you might not even need to use the maple syrup, or you could use, agave or something like that if you wanted to, but just play with it and do it to taste. Very simple template. I will share a recipe for a salad, a really simple summer salad with blueberries on it that I used in a retreat that I did a couple of summers ago with you on my blog and in my newsletter this week. So if you are interested in getting more recipes and making sure that you get the recipes that I share in these videos and the tips, more tips and in information, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. Check out my blog. I will share the links for both of those things below. And thank you for joining me for this 40th episode of In My Plant-Based Kitchen. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a wonderful summer. I would love to hear about your experience with fruit. How do you get fruit into your diet? What's your favorite way to consume it? Do you have any tips that you'd like to share with other people? Please leave them in the comments below. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again soon.